I've now helped 2 startup clothing brands get 30,000 followers on Instagram in less than 2 months. But most brands never see those kind of results because they don't know what posts actually grow their following. Until today, because in this video, I'm going to show you 15 specific content ideas you can start posting immediately to beat 90% of clothing brands. And the best part is you can make this content at any size, in any niche, and with a $0 budget. Starting with content idea number 1. This Spanish brand created a summer collection and asked themselves, what if a group of friends on a trip around Europe made Snapchat stories for a day? And they turned that idea into a post. Take a look. Where most brands would take high quality photos of models wearing their products, they've created a carousel that looks like Snapchat and everyone is wearing their products. Have a look at some of the captions. Your crush, act normal. She's starting to take photos of me. Am I in? I think I'm starting to like her. I mean, this is not only hilarious, but it also feels authentic and just like kids messing around. But how would you make one of these Snapchat carousel posts for yourself? Well, it starts by asking yourself one simple question. Where would my customers wear these clothes? Really let your imagination run free and construct a story around your product. Who would they be with and where would they go? What would they do there? Write some of these ideas down on paper and then you can find this location in real life. If it's a summer collection for the beach, choose a literal beach near you. Or maybe you'd imagine them wearing your product at a music festival. Well, then buy some tickets and go to a gig. This is where you're actually going to create the content. But you need people in front of the camera, so now you're going to invite your friends. I would pick the people that actually look like they belong there because there's nothing worse than a brand that feels out of touch with their audience. Your customers want to buy when they see models that look like them. And finally, write your Snapchat stories. This is the text to overlay on your images, and don't overthink or over-engineer this part. What makes it real is the authentic process of making a story. That is that you do it on the fly in a matter of minutes. But if you get stuck here, I would download Snapchat for a day, add a bunch of your friends, and see what kind of stories and snaps they send you. You could literally take the text, analyze the formats, and use them as templates for inspiration to write your own. This is one of the most unique storytelling content ideas I've seen in a long time, so don't sleep on this. Content idea number 2. I was working with the founder of Bound, a brand in the fighting and UFC niche, and he wanted to create some content to build his community, tell stories, and sell his products at the same time. And the video that you're about to see helped him gain 3,000 Instagram followers over the course of the campaign thanks to 3 strategies that I'll reveal in a moment.
That night I woke up like in so much pain. Surgeon walks in, name is Dr. Grant. He's like, you are very sick. You have 6 months to live. And you have this ticking time bomb, this disease that could come back. You're immunocompromised, like you could, like anything can kill you. If I die tomorrow, anyone that loved me, they'll have this video to be like, he did the shit he wanted to do in his life.
Well, the first strategy going on here is that the video builds community by featuring a known influencer in the space. The guy who's telling his story isn't the founder. It's actually someone named Matt who trains and teaches martial arts, but most importantly, he has nearly 60,000 Instagram followers. When the brand makes this post as a collaboration with the influencer's account, all of their followers see it too, which leads to more potential buyers. Secondly, the video focuses on storytelling that relates back to fighting. Naturally, people on social media come to watch stories more than anything, so the brand will get the most possible reach beyond their warm audience with this strategy. And even though it's not about the product, the fighter was wearing the Bound garments. This means that their reels double as a product ad for the launch. But how do you create a branded mini documentary like this that looks good when you don't have a large production budget? Well, it's actually a lot more simple than you think, and to make it clear, I've broken it down into 3 simple steps. Starting with number 1, you don't need influencers. The story itself is actually more important than the follow account of whose story you're telling. So if you don't have enough influencers as a brand to reach high status individuals, start with friends. The last thing you want is to be forking out 150% of your revenue last month for an influencer that doesn't really care to put effort into working with your brand anyways. Then once you've found your person, pick one simple focus on on their story. When I say focus, I mean the possible angles or direction of someone's story shared in your mini documentary. You'll notice that my client's example from before only had one real focus, a diagnosis from the doctor that threatened his fighting career. That's to say, this isn't a time to share their whole life story, but to go deep on one specific moment in time. And now you're ready to film, I'm going to give you a shot-by-shot checklist of what to get, even if you don't have experience behind the camera. But before that, if you, like this brand owner, are ready to work with me and take your community to the next level, then you might like to know that there's a link in the description where you can find out more about how I work. If not, no worries, just enjoy my free content. But now, copy this shot list. First, you're going to need the most important shot of all, the interview, of course. You'll also hear this called A-roll, and I want you to set up your camera with the interviewee in the middle from their chest up, similar to this shot right now. And for extra points, film in the location that relates to the story they're telling. So if they're talking about fighting, film it in the gym. Next are all the supporting shots about what they're saying. And if you're smart like this brand owner, you'll get your interviewee to do all the hard work for you. Well, what do I mean? And especially if you're telling a story from the past, just ask your interviewee for photos and videos from their camera roll about what they're speaking about. And that's how you create a mini doco on a budget. Content idea 3. This brand hosted an in-person party event for their community, but instead of posting a regular highlights reel like most brands, they took it a creative step further. But before I show you, 19,000 likes on a carousel is crazy, especially when they don't get the reach that reels do. That shows you the potential of this idea. And so here's the post. What they've done is they've created a fake chat log conversation on iMessages to add some backstory to this house party. They're texting their neighbor's wife and she's saying, "What the hell did you do in the store last night? My husband couldn't sleep." So maybe she's the manager or something like that. And then they respond, "What do you mean? He was there," with this diabolical photo, and the rest of the carousel is just business as usual with highlights from the party. So if you want to create your own fake text message carousel to stand out from other brand owners and their in-person highlight reels, here's how. First of all, you gotta host an event. This doesn't have to be a big event with real customers. Just pick an activity that relates to your brand identity that you could invite your friends to. Maybe a party or a beach day, or how about social football? Next, take photos as usual. This way we have a visual to base your fictional story on. Just make sure there are some funny ones in the mix. And then you're gonna pick one of your photos to make up a story around. And I found this photo on Pinterest, but let's work with that and pretend it's mine just for a moment. When I look at this, I imagine a reckless teenager that's lied to her mother about going to a friend's house, but instead she's at a brand's football event. And this is the part where you actually write the text message log. And for this example, I'm gonna rename the contact as mum to show who she's talking to, and the conversation could go something like this. "Did you get to Kathy's okay?" "Yes, we're all safe." "Wait, that's not Kathy's house. Where are you?" I can't lie, that was slightly the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. So enough of that, and on to the next content idea. Number 4, something that me and the team have implemented into our school brand owner community is a member of the week program. This is where every Friday we choose someone in the community that has exemplified what it means to be a member. It not only helps with engagement, but creates a culture where customers really care about your brand beyond clothing. And this brand has taken this same idea to Instagram, and let me show you how. So here they've created this feature community member post where they share images and shout out someone in the community by name. Like this post, for example, is Lloyd, who ran his first 10K run. So if you want to build a cult-like following through your content just like this brand has, here's how I would create one of these posts. And first, you have to stay in touch with your audience. A post like this doesn't just work unless you are interacting with your customers on a frequent basis. So I would create a group chat, or at least be interacting via private DMs with a few core customers. Ask and learn about their day-to-day and follow up on the big, important life events that are happening. Then it's really about being opportunistic. This is not something that you can just plan for, but if you find out that someone in your community is doing an activity or has achieved some goal related to your brand identity, now is your chance. Simply ask them if you could see any photos related to their achievement, and then you can share it on your page to shout them out. For example, if I were an activewear brand, I would be looking for people in my community who are running running PBs or a marathon. But here's a less obvious example. As a skate brand, there aren't people running big races or doing challenges, but skaters are learning new tricks all the time. So I'd be looking for someone in the community who has been training and finally is able to land that trick. It's just gonna make them feel so special and create a core community that loves supporting what you're doing. Content idea number 5. Nike released their Easy On shoes for kids, which is a slip-on Velcro shoe. And with this campaign, they also released a creative ad targeted at the parents. And I'm gonna teach you something really cool that's gonna change the way you make content. But before that, let's watch it. Here it is.
A family's guide to an easier day. Start kids off with a balanced breakfast. It's the most important meal. Make time for some light exercise. It helps focus the mind. Keep daily essentials neatly organized and ready for use. Get out the door without distraction or delay.
So I'm gonna call this a meme ad, and the reason why I love it is because it's very well suited for social media. The comedy just fits well among other videos that are focused on entertainment rather than selling a product. And if you want to create one of these meme ads for your own brand, you might be thinking that video was too high production. I don't have the means to create that. And you're right, but that was Nike and you're you. So now I'm gonna show you exactly how to create one of these events, even if you're a small brand just starting out. And it starts with picking a specific feature of your product. These ads play on the rise of American home shopping in the 1980s, which is all about selling the features. And that's what the Nike video is modeled after. So this will work especially well if you have a product with something particularly interesting or special about its design. For example, the Velcro or slip-on quality of the shoe. But maybe there aren't any unique design features about your product, so you'll have to get a little more creative. I thought of a product like camo pants, which were trending some time ago. They might not have any special design features, but I could certainly play into the joke that they make you invisible, which leads us to writing a script. And I think it could sound something like this. Do you hate being seen in public? Are you tired of running into everyone you know when all you wanted was a bag of frozen peas? Wishing you could just disappear? Introducing the all-new Camo Pant 3000, the first pair of pants specifically engineered to make you 93% less noticeable in public. Whether you're dodging your ex, avoiding your boss, or just trying to leave a party without saying goodbye, the Camo Pant 3000 has you covered. Literally. You know, this video is getting crazier by the minute. Home shopping was great at a good sales pitch, and the structure that I'm using comes down to problem and solution. Ask yourself the question, what problem does my product solve? Even if it's a fake problem like being seen, funny ones work well too. Next, how does my product solve that problem, and what does the solution look and feel like? Particularly focus on the transformation or change within your customers, as in how will the solution make a meaningful difference to their daily life? And now you're ready to film, just copy this shot list. The good news is you're only gonna need 2 shots because we're gonna simplify it even more than Nike to make it easy for any brand. And first we'll shoot the before shot. This is the video of your customers looking all sad because they don't have your product. They are literally facing the problem. For my meme ad about the camo pants, this will be someone with social anxiety in public and everyone is looking at them funny. Next, shoot the after shot. This is where your customer is experiencing the benefit of your product and is looking all happy again. For these camo pants, I want a shot of my customer thinking they're invisible in public and maybe they're sneaking around, tapping unsuspecting victims on the shoulder, just funny things like this. And if you want a bonus tip to take it to the next level, make the before black and white and the after shot in full saturation. This will help communicate the problem and solution structure to your viewers. Plus, it looks dramatic just like your home shopping ads. Content idea 6. And now we're back to something a little more serious because this activewear brand wanted to share their brand identity, but in a unique way. So they turned a voice note about the relentless mindset, a core value of the brand, into a video.
There's something about watching your physical body strengthen and grow through pure individual grit that strengthens the mind and spirit also. When you look at what you've pushed yourself to do physically, whether it's in the gym, eating clean, sleeping well, or just generally taking better care of yourself, it starts to make you wonder what other areas of your life you can improve. For me, my relentless mindset really started once I started lifting and training consistently. That's why I started ASRV. I had personally experienced the insane positive mindset shift that physical training could have on your entire life, and I wanted to create a brand, product, and community based around this transformation.
So content idea number 6 is the voice memo interview. And the powerful thing is that this opens the door to feature anyone in your community from all around the world. But how do you create this? Well, first, get in contact. Start by sending 10 to 20 messages each day to real people in your audience. Actually click on your followers and go down the list. In your message, share with them the content idea and what you would like their involvement to be in as few words as possible. And once you've exhausted your followers, I would go through the followers of your followers. Remember that like-minded people are connected, so this is going to be a new group of people with real stories too. And once you get someone that agrees, you're going to ask them your questions for the interview. Create 3 to 5 questions that prompt them to share specific stories that relate to your clothing brand. For example, this activewear brand may have asked a question like, what does the relentless mindset mean to you? Another good structure to abide by is asking, tell me a specific story of the moment you X. Fill in the blank with something that relates directly to your brand message, and make sure you ask them to send their answer in voice message form, of course. This is integral to the video you're about to create. Finally, you download the voice memos. As far as I know, on Instagram or WhatsApp, there's no real way to download a voice message, but there's a workaround. You can screen record while playing the messages and extract the audio later on. Now just cut up your audio, add some images and videos that they share with you from the archives just like before, and post it as a featured voice memo interview with a real community member. Content idea 7. If you want to go deep on understanding your target customer, you won't only ask how old they are, but also what music they might listen to. I know this sounds a little random, but this next clothing brand answered that very question and curated a custom Spotify playlist for their target audience. To announce the playlist on Instagram, they made an ad to direct people to Spotify. So content idea number 7 is a curated Spotify playlist post. But how do you make one for your own brand? Well, you might notice a common theme going on here, but you're just gonna ask your customers. Just talk to the community. I would be sending direct messages to customers that truly embody your brand, asking them what their top Spotify rap songs are. Then you need to pick an order for the playlist. More than likely, you will find overlap in common songs between the different customers, and I would place these at the top of the playlist and put less popular songs near the bottom. Then you can turn it into a post, which is as simple as screenshotting the top of the playlist, uploading it as an image to Reels, and putting one of the songs as the sound of the reel itself. Content idea number 8. I sometimes get the question, who do I tell stories about if influencers won't respond to my messages? Well, this next brand didn't take no for an answer, and instead they chose a celebrity and created a post about them anyway. And since their brand is all about saying yes and doing challenging things, they chose the first woman to summit Everest, as you can see in this post here. And these are some photos of her actually doing it, and the caption is her story. So content idea number 8 is the celebrity story. If you could have any influencer, dead or alive, featured on your brand page, who would you choose? Well, today's your lucky day because you're going to research that person. Find a specific story or achievement from their lifetime that directly relates to your brand message or mission. For example, if your brand's all about environmental sustainability, you might find a story from Greta Thunberg. Next, you're gonna write the caption. And to make this really easy for yourself, copy an article that tells that story that you wish to recount and upload it into ChatGPT, asking it to turn it into a summarized Instagram caption. Finally, find your images. If they are famous enough, it can be as easy as searching for their name on Pinterest. But as a second option, you can go to their Instagram page and download images straight from their posts. I won't endorse the name of a specific site to do this because they change all the time, but just search download Instagram posts and you'll find something. Content idea number 9. There was a clothing brand inspiring customers to get outside their comfort zone, and they realized there was 2 very clear and distinct ideologies among their audience. One where people had a growth mindset and another where they were fixed. And so they turned these 2 mentalities into to a carousel where they compared the ideologies side by side. So here it is, from I have to start over to I get to start wiser. I feel behind and I'm just blooming in my own season. Finally, one day and day one. Here you can see the two mindsets side by side, as I mentioned. And so I'm calling content idea number 9 the comparison carousel. And the idea is simple. You identified two different opposing mindsets that relate to your brand message, a self-doubt mindset and an ideal mindset, and compare them side by side, as in how do they sound? For example, if your clothing brand is about Christianity, the self-doubt might say, how could Jesus love a sinner like me? And the ideal mindset says, he made me righteous. Once you come up with a few opposing mindsets, add some pictures and overlay them top and bottom to create a carousel like this. Content idea 10. I don't know if you remember that trend where a couple would show you different modeling poses that you can save for later and try yourself. Well, a brand copied this and made it funny. So a meme format in their product, and it fits so well with the focus on entertainment of social media. But best of all, the results speak for themselves because 959,000 likes is insane. So how do you create one of these viral meme videos so you can blow up your own brand? Well, you could just create this type of video where you copy these photos format, but chances are by the time you've seen this, it's already gone out of date, as so many trends do. So instead, here's how I would go about finding new trends to stay ahead of the curve. First, find some TikTok influencers with tens of millions of followers. Usually these are the ones that are creating the trends, not just following them. Then you're gonna look through their most recent posts and see what kind of formats they are posting that you could possibly recreate. Finally, you're gonna integrate your product into it, just like the brand we saw before does. Even though it was a funny video about the poses, every single person in the video was wearing the products from their latest collection. And if you play your cards right, you might just hit a winner. Content idea number 11. This next idea has been associated with the rise of the UK fashion scene, but it can work for any brand in any part of the world. And it's called an extreme scenario video. It's basically where you take the desirability of your products to an extreme. For example, look at how this brand depicts robbers stealing a bunch of stock from their warehouse. I think these work so well because it shows the kind of reaction you would like your customers to have in an exaggerated way. So if you want to build hype around your brand too, here's how to make a unique extreme scenario video for your own brand. And it starts with selecting a part of the process. Any point of the product development process, from it being made to arriving on the doorstep, will do. The idea is we are going to use that specific moment of the product's journey as the basis for the story you're about to tell and exaggerate it to an extreme. And this is where we need to figure out, how does it go wrong? We are literally thinking about the worst case scenario here. What's the thing that's so unexpected that could happen to your products at that moment? Does the delivery man steal it before reaching the doorstep? Or maybe grandma puts on the clothes as she's doing the washing. And that's really it. Content idea 12. The next brand had less than 3,000 followers when he posted the carousel you're about to see. But that's not even the coolest part, because he was able to create this from his bedroom in a matter of 5 minutes, and you can too. So here's the post. He's literally just screenshot DMs from different customers about his upcoming drop and used it to show the desirability around his brand. So look, they're saying things like, family, when's this dropping? I can't wait no more. I can't lie, I'm looking forward to your next drop. Gonna be buying again. I need the password. I need to cop ASAP. And that's why I'm calling content idea number 12 the happy customer carousel. Part of what makes a community desirable is seeing the engagement between real people and their customers, even if they aren't the ones sending the messages back and forth. But how do you create one of these happy customer carousels as a small brand so that you can build some hype around your next clothing drop? Well, it all really starts in the preparation. So first, I would post a teaser. To be getting DMs like this, you need to give something that they're going to comment on. So share an image of the products you're working on to your story and then add some text to ask a question. You want something a bit cheeky to poke the bear, like, should we drop these? And then as people start to respond, just screenshot their messages. I would create a folder on the photo app on your phone so you can organize these screenshots in one place over time. That way you can build a bank of them and then post it once you have 5 to 10 DMs worth sharing. Content idea 13. This next video got 517,000 views with no ads or boosting, which is unheard of for a brand with less than 10,000 followers.
Would you like to call a loved one today to win a free shirt? Check up on a loved one.
Absolutely, yeah, I'd love that.
Absolutely. Haven't spoken to your mate in a long time.
It's been a long time. His name's Tom.
Tom? All right, let's do it.
Hey, Tom, how's it going, man? I just want to let you know, man, I love you, bro.
Hey, brother. You're a great guy. One more.
One love, one love.
I was going to say, you have definitely been meaning to have a sit down with you and Olive.
I'll call you back in a bit, yeah?
All right,
All right, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate it.
So this is my clothing brand named after my auntie, Rosie, who lost her life to suicide. So
It's beautiful, man. Wow, this is a great gift, man. Thank you so much.
phone call can save a life, right?
So to give you some context, beyond clothing, their mission is to save lives from suicide. So they created this man on the street video encouraging strangers to call a loved one for a free hoodie. And before I show you how to make it, the reason it works so well is because they are creating a real emotional connection with their audience. If you only talk about your products, this just isn't possible. But how do you translate this content idea to your brand, even if you aren't in the mental health niche? Well, I've defined 3 practical steps so you can grow your brand and make a difference. And it starts with getting clear on your mission. And by the way, making quality clothing is not a mission because your community can't participate in that. It's actually a goal. Instead, a mission is something we can all work towards, not for ourselves, but for the greater good of the world. For example, it might be to inspire skaters of all nationalities to come together around the sport. And now you've got that, you're gonna make it practical. So I'm looking for a quick and easy way that someone could outwork that mission on their way to work in the morning. Because remember, you're stopping people on the street. For my skate brand, I'm thinking of taking a skateboard and challenging people to land a kickflip for a hoodie. That's a viral idea. And now you can just take it to the streets. And please do not stage this part because you're scared. Get over yourself. Go and find real people. Stage content sucks and it stinks of inauthenticity. Real interactions look real because they're unexpected. And have a friend of yours film, or you can be the cameraman if you don't have anyone else to help. Content idea 14. There's some things you post for virality to grow your audience, but there's other things you post that will never go viral, but will nurture and engage your current audience into a community. And so this is one of those. And if you want to get comments like, you are a big inspiration and I absolutely love your work, then here's what you're going to post.
How I started my clothing brand as a 19-year-old student with no money or fashion experience behind me whatsoever. At university, I was studying a finance degree, which I didn't like whatsoever, and I decided to start a clothing brand. I'd wanted to start one since I was 16, and I wanted a creative outlet from the rigor of studying finance. It wasn't like now, where there's a bunch of tutorials on TikTok and everyone and their dog wants to start a brand. So I was really going into it blind. What I used to do was find other small brands with 10,000, 15,000 followers, and one by one go through their following list and click on their profile. If it was public, I'd comment on their posts being like, hey, like check out my brand if you like this brand. Fast forward to release day, I had all these people being like, yeah dude, definitely gonna buy something, all this stuff. So on the release day, I click live and first half an hour, nothing. 1 hour goes by, nothing. 2 hours, nothing. And on the 3rd hour, I finally get a sale and I'm all pumped. And then it's just my friend from high school. So I was gutted. I didn't want to do anything. I think for about 2 weeks, I didn't do anything brand related. I'll make another video though on how I actually started getting sales and getting the ball rolling and getting a small following.
So content idea number 14 is a founder story, and it's basically where you explain the journey of starting your brand. But this video can go really wrong and miss the whole point if you do it like most clothing brands. So here's how I'd make a founder story that makes people love your brand all the more. The first and most important thing is not to educate. This is not your video to teach people how they should do it, but rather share how you did it. If a brand owner learns something in the process, then that's a great bonus. So instead of using sentence starters like you should X, say I did X. At the end of the day, your audience is not brand owners anyway. They are people that buy fashion, and as far as you're concerned, they don't care about how to do it for themselves. Secondly, tell a story. Don't just give information. And here's the subtle difference. Information says I did this, then that, then this happened, and so on. It glazes over the top of events like a helicopter and sounds more like a history lesson. On the contrary, good stories take me into the moment and they tell me when and where, who was there, what was said, thought, and felt. So pick 2 to 3 specific moments in time that encapsulate the story. Maybe the moment you had the idea, the first action you took, and where you were when you released the product. Content idea 15. Some of you guys have a great depth and lore behind your brand that needs to come out into the world and be properly explained. And usually I say show, don't tell, because we want to demonstrate the brand message through content, not only through the text in your bio. However, there is a time and place to explicitly state what you're about, like on your website about page. And this brand has brought it to Instagram. Now, you might recognize his face from the campaign before, but the common person won't know what the term memento mori means. So on the next slide, they've written, memento mori is a Latin phrase that translates to remember you will die. It's a reminder of mortality and the impermanence of life. So I'm going to call content idea 15 a brand manifesto post, and it's the perfect thing to pin at the top of your feed. So if you want to leave a first impression that leaves your audience wanting more, then here's what I'd include in your carousel. And slide 1 would be an image hook. Just like Maury Bound's image, there should be limited text here, maybe your brand name or a short tagline at most. But this is a chance to show your face as the founder or maybe someone key in the community. For the next slide, you're going to share your brand concept. This is where you explain the underlying ideology or lifestyle behind the brand. What does the name mean? What do you stand for? The UFC brand from before explained the phrase memento mori and how it related to the brand. And then slide 3 is all about your mission. And we need to make this tangible. This is a single sentence to empower your community towards one specific and practical goal. I'd make this goal so large that you can never achieve it, so that you'll always be working towards something. Simon Sinek calls this a just cause in his book, The Infinite Game, if you want to learn more. And then slide 4 is the call to action. So what are the readers going to do right now? Are they going to follow you, share it with a friend? But whatever it is, bring your mission back down to earth to something that they can do right now from their bedroom at home. And now you've got 15 specific content ideas you can post right now to grow your brand. But if you don't fix your process from product development to release, the growth will be for nothing. So click the video on screen now where we'll break down exactly how I create a community-focused brand from scratch in under 36 hours so you can do the same. And well, you don't have to do it in 36 hours, but this is a literal course that so many charge thousands for. I'll see you there.